Welcome to the Trend Flow, bringing you the latest news from around the world. Imagine a single runway shifting the balance of power in one of the world's most contested regions. Recently, the US and the Philippines completed a new runway, a symbol of their deepening military alliance. This isn't just about infrastructure, it's a clear signal to Beijing amid rising tensions and competing territorial claims. For the Philippines, it means better monitoring of its maritime territory and faster disaster response. For the US, it's a forward base to project power in a vital area. The project, funded through a bilateral defense agreement, marks a renewed commitment between the two allies. China is watching closely, viewing this expansion as a threat to its interests in the South China Sea. The runway is now a focal point in the US-China rivalry, seen as a potential staging ground for American operations. Its completion forces Southeast Asian nations to reassess their security strategies. This strip of concrete is more than a runway. It's a catalyst for a new era of regional competition. The new runway sits at Cesar Bassa Air Base in Luzon, just 150 nautical miles from the disputed Scarborough Shoal. Its location is no accident. Bassa faces the South China Sea, making it ideal for air patrols and rapid deployment. Originally built by the US before World War II, the base has long been central to Philippine defense. The recent $66 million upgrade, funded by the US, allows for larger aircraft and advanced surveillance missions. This base is now part of a network of Philippine facilities accessible to the US, providing dispersed, resilient options in case of conflict. For the Philippines, it's a stronger deterrent against encroachment on its maritime rights. Officially, both countries stress the defensive nature of these upgrades, improving disaster response and interoperability. But for China, a modernized US-accessible airbase so close to its doorstep is a strategic concern. The upgrades at Bassa Air Base are a clear message. The US and the Philippines are reinforcing their alliance in the face of growing regional threats. This development is reshaping the security landscape in Southeast Asia. The base's enhanced capabilities make it a key player in the ongoing contest for control of the South China Sea. As tensions rise, Bassa Air Base stands as a symbol of shifting power dynamics. Its strategic value is now undeniable. The runway at Bassa Air Base is a direct result of the Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement, or EDCA, signed in 2014. EDCA allows the US to rotate troops and build facilities on Philippine bases, but stops short of permanent basing. Initially covering 5 sites, the agreement expanded to 9 in 2023, many facing the South China Sea or Taiwan. The Bassa runway is the most prominent EDCA project, alongside new fuel storage, barracks, and warehouses. While some in the Philippines worry about sovereignty, President Marcos Jr. has embraced EDCA as a way to counter China's assertiveness. The Philippine Supreme Court upheld the agreement, clearing the way for rapid upgrades. For the US, EDCA is central to its Indo-Pacific Strategy, enabling a more agile, distributed military presence. Dispersing forces across multiple sites complicates any adversary's plans and boosts US survivability. The agreement signals a strong US commitment to its treaty ally on the front lines of regional disputes. EDCA projects like the Bassa runway are tangible proof that the US stands with the Philippines. This framework is reshaping the military balance in the region. The alliance is now more resilient and responsive than ever. As tensions mount, EDCA's importance will only grow. The runway is just the beginning. From Beijing's perspective, the new Bassa runway is a direct challenge. Chinese officials call the US expansion in the Philippines a threat to China's security, framing it as part of a broader containment strategy. The base's proximity to the South China Sea and its ability to host advanced US aircraft are seen as especially provocative. China views the South China Sea as vital for its security and trade, and US forces nearby as an attempt to undermine its claims. Beijing warns Manila against becoming a pawn in great power rivalry, invoking Cold War analogies. The runway is seen as another link in a chain of US alliances encircling China. This perception fuels a security dilemma. Defensive moves by the US and allies prompt Chinese countermeasures, raising the risk of escalation. In response, China has stepped up military and paramilitary activity in the South China Sea, including aggressive Coast Guard patrols and swarming disputed reefs. These actions are meant to show China's resolve and deter the Philippines from deepening its US ties. The region is now on edge, with more frequent and dangerous encounters at sea. The runway has become a flashpoint in the US-China rivalry. The South China Sea is the epicenter of this contest, one of the world's busiest and most valuable waterways. Over a third of global shipping passes through, and the area is rich in oil, gas, and fisheries. China claims nearly the entire sea, clashing with the exclusive economic zones of the Philippines, Vietnam, and others. In 2016, the Philippines won a landmark legal case against China's claims. But Beijing rejected the ruling and built military outposts on artificial islands. These fortified islands allow China to project power deep into Southeast Asia. The upgraded Basa Runway is a direct counter, giving the US and Philippines a platform to monitor and challenge China's activities. For China, the sea is a vital trade artery and defensive buffer. For the US, it's about ensuring freedom of navigation. US freedom of navigation operations regularly challenge China's claims, and Basa Air Base now supports these missions. The runway is a new tool in the struggle for control of this maritime crossroads. Its presence raises the stakes for all involved. The contest for the South China Sea is entering a new phase. The Basa Runway is part of a broader US Indo-Pacific strategy focused on alliances and deterrence. The US aims to prevent any single power from dominating the region, investing in a network of allies, especially the strategically located Philippines. This approach, called integrated deterrence, blends military, diplomatic, and economic tools. The US alliance system includes treaties with Japan, South Korea, Australia, and the Philippines, plus new partnerships like the Quad and AUKUS. These initiatives create a web of security cooperation to balance China's rise. The Philippines' location makes it crucial for South China Sea and Taiwan security. Recent years have seen intensified US-Philippine military exercises, including large-scale Balikatan drills. The revitalized alliance is a direct response to shared concerns about China. For the US, a strong Philippines shores up the first island chain, a key defensive line. For Manila, the alliance brings security guarantees and access to advanced technology. The Basa Runway is a concrete investment in this shared vision. It embodies the strategic convergence of US and Philippine interests. The Indo-Pacific balance is being reshaped, one runway at a time. The new runway and deepening US-Philippines ties have triggered mixed reactions across Southeast Asia. ASEAN, committed to consensus, has responded cautiously, calling for dialogue and adherence to international law. Some members, like Vietnam, quietly welcome a stronger US presence as a counterweight to China. Others, such as Cambodia and Laos, worry about antagonizing Beijing and fear being forced to choose sides. Indonesia and Malaysia try to balance concerns about China's assertiveness with wariness of expanded US military presence. These nations push for diplomacy and a binding code of conduct in the South China Sea. The Runway project highlights the region's dilemma, navigating between two competing powers. ASEAN's unity is under strain as the US-China rivalry intensifies. The strategic landscape is shifting, and smaller nations are feeling the pressure. The runway is a test of regional resolve and independence. The runway's impact goes beyond security. It's reshaping trade and diplomacy. China is the Philippines' top trading partner, making Manila's balancing act even more delicate. Beijing could use economic leverage to punish the Philippines for its US alignment, threatening exports and investment. President Marcos Jr. has tried to separate security and economic ties, but rising tensions make this harder. The project polarizes the region, pressuring ASEAN to take sides and risking a split into rival blocs. For the US, the runway is a diplomatic win, but it also raises the stakes in any confrontation with China. Washington must reassure partners that its intentions are defensive, not provocative. The fallout will depend on careful management of alliances and messaging. The region faces a future of heightened competition and uncertainty. The runway is a symbol of both opportunity and risk. The new US-funded runway at Basa Air Base is a powerful symbol of shifting power in the Indo-Pacific. Strategically located near the South China Sea, it enhances US-Philippine military cooperation under EDCA. China sees it as part of a hostile containment strategy, fueling a cycle of escalation. ASEAN nations are divided. Some support a stronger US presence, others fear great power conflict. The project pressures smaller countries to choose sides, threatening regional unity. Its implications reach beyond security, affecting trade and diplomacy across Southeast Asia. The runway marks a new chapter in the US-China rivalry, a concrete line in the sand with far-reaching consequences. The future of regional stability now hinges on how nations navigate this new reality.